For thyroid thrivers, anxiety and depression are not simply mindset issues. It's often a direct result of the hormonal imbalances, inflammation, and nervous system dysregulation that can go hand in hand with thyroid disease. It's also one of the most misunderstood symptoms of thyroid disease, but for so many thyroid thrivers, this is a daily struggle, and it really deserves more attention, more dialogue, more compassion, understanding, and support. Today's guest on Thyroid-Healthy Bites is Megan Nolan, an expert in helping highly sensitive, ambitious women break free from anxiety naturally and holistically. And in today's conversation, we're going to talk about navigating anxiety and depression, including some really powerful mind body tools that you can start using today. It's going to be a great show, Thyroid Thrivers, so stick around. Hello, Thyroid Thrivers, and welcome back to another episode of the Thyroid-Healthy Bites podcast, with bi-weekly episodes dedicated to helping you eat well, live well, and feel well. I'm Ginny Mahar, a functional medicine health coach, cordon bleu chef, and your thyroid health and cooking coach. So if you're ready to get inspired, informed, and empowered with thyroid-friendly food and lifestyle topics, expert interviews, and tales from the healing journey, you're in the right place, friend. Let's dig in. All right, welcome back to the show, Thyroid Thrivers, and a very warm welcome to my special guest, Megan Nolan. Hi, Megan. Thanks so much for being here today.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to be here.
Well, Megan and I are new Instagram buddies. It's always fun to connect with other people in this space and on this shared mission of, helping and supporting people, especially women. I think both of us kind of end up focusing on that. I know for me, so much of it is because so much thyroid stuff happens more often to women. We're 5 to 8 times more likely to have these issues. So before we dive in today, I would like to share a little bit more about you with the listeners. Megan is a leading Megan is leading a global movement that helps highly sensitive, ambitious women 40 and up break free from anxiety naturally and holistically. She's the creator of the Power Pause method, which we'll hear about today, and she brings over 20 years of experience as a yoga instructor and personal trainer. Megan teaches grounded, practical mind-body tools to stop the cycle of stress and self-sacrifice so that her clients can lead with impact, freedom, and joy without losing themselves in the process. I love her socials. I love her YouTube channel. She's also a best-selling author and the host of the Movement, Mind, and Meaning podcast, which I recently had the privilege of being a guest on. We had a really fun conversation. So, Megan, I'm just so excited to get into this conversation and to have you here. This is such an important topic for our community.
Well, thank you so much. It was lovely having you on my show. And so, of course, receiving your invitation to be here, I said yes. So, thank you for the work that you're doing. And I am really honored to share these tools. I myself am a thyroid thriver. I have Hashimoto's. I was diagnosed about 12-ish years ago. I need the calculator, but ish. So, I understand that challenge as well as someone who navigates the world with high functioning anxiety and seasons of sadness. So, this is something that's really near and dear to my heart in so many ways. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, I thought, with your background, not just with the depression, anxiety, the tools around that, but yeah, you're a thyroid thriver, so you've had personal experience with this, and I just thought, we haven't really talked about this yet on the show, in a very focused way, and it's a pretty big topic for this community. It's something I hear about a lot from my social media community, from my Thrivers Club community. And it really is a pertinent issue that we do need to kind of be aware of as thyroid patients, whether or not we're currently having system symptoms, because we can be more prone to it. So before we dig into our conversation, I did want to share with you as the listeners today a few really interesting statistics about this. So, according to the National Library of Medicine, up to 60% of people with hypothyroidism experience anxiety symptoms at some point. So, 60%, that's pretty high. Also, according to the Journal of Thyroid Research, even mild or subclinical hypothyroidism, where maybe our numbers are normal, but they're just a little bit like towards the edge of the normal range or just slightly off, that can actually double the risk of developing anxiety disorders compared to those with normal thyroid function. So there really are some very much proven links here. Okay. Um, one more I wanted to share with you. Among patients with Hashimoto's, up to 63% report symptoms of anxiety, even when their thyroid hormone levels are considered normal with medication. And this is because thyroid hormones directly influence our neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, all of which can help regulate mood and anxiety. And the thyroid, if it's imbalanced, if the levels are off, it can really disrupt those pathways and that can trigger symptoms. So that's kind of I did want to give like some, thyroid specific backstory to why this is such a big topic for us to have on our radar and to know about, and to also know if we are having symptoms, like you're not alone. There are some connections here. Let's talk about it and let's talk about what we can do. So, Megan, let's get into it. Why don't we start, because you have, personal experience with this, maybe to start us off, you could share a little bit about your personal journey and how it led you to help women navigate anxiety and depression in the unique way that you do.
Thank you. And I will say thank you for sharing those statistics because that's really important to me as well, that people understand this at a level of the common humanity, that, this is something that so many people are navigating, and especially those of us with thyroid conditions, it really sets us up to be a little bit more susceptible to that, and really just acknowledging, oh, okay, this isn't a me thing. This is a body thing. This is a thyroid thing, right? And so
Mhm.
thank you for sharing those. And admittedly, that's was the drive behind us connecting and me reaching out on Instagram, was learning these statistics and thinking, holy moly, this is so prevalent. So a little bit about my journey was that I didn't know that I had Hashimoto's until my naturopath suggested going deeper with my blood work, because I was dealing with chronic infections that were really frustrating. And my allopathic practitioner, said, oh, you're normal. These are all normal. We don't know what this is. And so we kept digging and digging and digging. And then I received the tests and the diagnosis and have been on medication. And so for me to understand and learn that influencing factor of these lower thyroid levels potentially being a cause of the anxiety that I was experiencing, was like, oh, wow, okay. If it gave me some relief and it gave me some clarity. So to give you that part of the story, but to give you the understanding of why it's so near and dear to my heart to be leading this global movement of helping people to recognize how important it is to pause throughout the day, to get grounded, to get centered, to take these little mindful moments for themselves that I call power pauses, so that they can practice this taking a deep breath and all the things that we'll get into in a moment. Because the reality is, life is pressurized. It can be stressful. We're always going, going, going. And if we're kind of running on empty, if we have these conditions, right, it's even more important for us to take these nourishing little breaks for ourselves, because it's important from a physical perspective, mental, emotional, spiritual, however you want to approach this. I believe that all of those layers and levels of you are intersecting and they all support each other. And so when we can do something that's good for your mind, it's good for your body, and vice versa. So as someone who experiences challenges of anxiety periodically and seasons of sadness, I've noticed that there's really important tools and practices for my overall health and happiness, that when I get busy, when I experience high levels of anxiety, seem to just go flying out the window. And I'm like, where did my morning routine go? I don't know. I'm up and I'm grabbing my phone and I'm getting to work and I'm working for long hours and I'm barely moving, and so these are, again, if you recognize yourself in that, I see you, I get it, I understand, and you're certainly not alone, because those of us that are very driven and passionate and ambitious and very sensitive have this tendency to go, go, go and give and do and think and all of that. Right. And so that can be a contributing factor in feeling anxious is if we are running and going and doing and all of that is often a response to stress, right? And when we're experiencing stress, one of the ways that we cope with that or that our nervous system might respond to stress is these feelings of anxiety, right? And so again, looking at this from the perspective of what's happening here is our nervous system is indicating a need. Much like when you're hungry and you hear your tummy rumbling or you feel it, or when you feel that kind of headachy sensation of, oopsie, I haven't drank water in a while, those are signals from your body, right? And experiencing anxiety or seasons of sadness, those are signals from your body that it has a need, right? And so we don't like get angry with our stomach and we're like, oh, really? You're hungry again? I just fed you. We don't get upset with our stomach when it's rumbling and asking for food. But many of us, myself included, can get a little, upset, frustrated, annoyed when these feelings keep presenting themselves if we just keep going and going and going and doing and doing and doing. So for me, it was this recognition that in order to be truly happy, in order to be thriving, in order to feel like I'm aligned with my values, which is really important to me, one of which is integrity, i.e., doing what I say I'm going to do, i.e., practicing what I teach others to do, I recognize that I was out of sync. I was out of alignment, if you will. And so taking a step back and recognizing that it's important for me to have a routine that allows me to set myself up for a day that feels grounded and strong and focused and clear and intentional, as well as throughout the day, taking power pauses so that I could keep coming back to that steady state, right? I could nourish myself through movement, through breath, through groundedness, whatever it is was really important for my overall health and happiness and success. And so I really feel super passionate about supporting other people that are like me, right? Sensitive, ambitious, going out there doing big things with your dreams and your goals and know that you are the driving force in all of that. And when you can really support yourself at the deepest level of your nervous system, then you are really setting yourself up to truly thrive. And so that's the Power Pause movement. That's a little bit about my story and what I do and why I'm here and all of that.
Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I'm excited to hear. I would just love to hear more about your power pause method and how that works and have you walk us through that. Before you do, I just want to say it is absolutely so relatable that I think when we need it the most sometimes, the self-care, the mindfulness, all of those things go out the window. It's when we're the most stressed out. We're like, oh, I don't have time for that right now.
Mhm.
That's when we need it the most.
Yeah.
I forget who said it, but there's that quote about meditation where you
Yeah.
should, sit for 20 minutes a day unless you're really, really stressed out and crunched for time. And then you should sit for an hour a day, you know?
Yeah, it was the Dalai Lama. And
Right.
again, and finding the common humanity in this is that that's very normal. And it's actually shows that your brain and your nervous system is high functioning because if you and doing well and doing its job, right? And so when we're experiencing stress, your brain is thinking survive, right? Survive. We got to handle the situation right in front of us, whether it's real or imagined, internal, external, it's wired for that. And so if we feel that we are stressed, your brain isn't thinking, today it's a nice time for a bubble bath. It's like, no, we got to get out of the way. Here comes the tiger, sort this
Yeah.
out. We don't have time to slow down. And so that's perfectly segues into the first step of the power pause method is to feel the feels. And so it's that recognition of the feeling of whatever's showing up for you. Is it the stress? Is it the anxiety? Is it the overwhelm? Is it the self-doubt? Is it the inner critic? Whatever, right? Whatever it is it joy? Is it happiness, right? And so we want to recognize that all of your feelings are valid. They all deserve to be felt. And we want to hold space for them, not in a way that we get consumed by them, but in a way that we are recognizing and honoring that they have value, that they have a role, that they're part of us. And we're not trying to bypass them. We're not trying to, shove them off to the side because that's not really conducive to us moving through them. So when you notice you're feeling that stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, whatever it is sort of feeling, That's the step one. And all of this is really self-awareness, right? And so that's the step one is feel the feels. So acknowledge it, label it. I am feeling anxious right now. And that's an important distinction between I'm feeling anxious and I'm anxious. The difference is that you're not anxiety. Lean in and I'll say it again. You are not anxiety. Just like you're not hypothyroidism. You have that. You experience that. You might experience anxiety, but you're certainly not that. You're so much more, right? You're a spirit, you're a soul, you're a child of God, universe, like whatever you align to. You are so much more than what we experience, right? We're not our thoughts. And so we want to just acknowledge that. And so notice that if we are feeling stressed and we're very resistant to taking a break, that's just your brain doing its job. But that is all the more reason to do one. Okay. It's like when a kid's tired and you're like, you need a nap. And they're like, no, I don't need a nap. Like, you need a nap. So, we're basically like these complicated house plants that have these needs, but we think we're so, we get so involved in what we're doing that we forget, right? So that's the first step. Did you have any questions about that first step?
No, that makes perfect sense. I'm into it. Let's
Okay.
keep rolling. Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
I'm with
So
you.
step one, feel the feels, right? Acknowledge the feeling. We want to name it. We want to just acknowledge it. We want to hold space for it. And then that's the indicator, right? Because this is a signal from your system. Hello, I need a break, right? Just like when your tummy's rumbling, it's like, I need a snack. So step one is feel the feels. Step two is take a power pause. So what is a power pause? A power pause is a little mindful moment where you get out of your head and back into your body. Most people spend their lives as an out-of-body experience, meaning we operate from the neck up. We spend most of our time swirling around in our thoughts, talking to ourselves, either in our head, out loud. Like, it's legit, right? Acknowledge the common humanity. You talk to yourself all day long. We have lots of thoughts all day long. So we want to break the pattern, right? Because we can't think our way out of anxiety. That's not how it works, right? You are in a stimulated, sympathetic stress state in your nervous system. It's very important for you to basically shift gears, right? It's like when you're downshifting in your car. So we want to do something that brings you out of the anxiety or stress or whatever it is and into your body. Depending on the level of sensation, you may need something that's more active, right? If you're like super anxious and you're feeling, then we maybe need to do a power pause that's like running in place. Or if you're feeling mildly anxious, but you just still need a little something, you could shake your hands, shake your body, wiggle, wag your tail like you have a tail. You can put on some music, you can dance, you can stamp your feet on the ground. If you need it to be more discreet, i.e., you're in the middle of a sales call or in a meeting, then let's do this together. If it's safe for you, you can close your eyes. Obviously, if you're driving, please keep your eyes open. And you can do this with your steering wheel. But if you're just listening or walking your dog and you can close your eyes, I'd love for you to close your eyes down and notice your breath. Breathe. So you may still do this, but you certainly did when you were little. We're going to use our fingers to count. So what we're going to do is we're going to count to 4 on our fingers. You can do one or both hands. Okay, ready? So we're going to breathe in for a count to 4. Count on your fingers. If you need a visual, you can see me. Ready? We're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Use your fingers. It's important. Inhale 1, 2, breathe into your belly. 3, 4, breathe out through your mouth. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now breathe in slower and deeper. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep your hands in your lap. Open your eyes. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4. Eyes open. 3, 2, 1. One more time. Eyes open. Inhale. 1. Keep going. 2, 3, 4. Soften your shoulders. 4, 3, 2, 1. What we did there is basically shift you from a very activated state to a more centered, grounded, regulated state in your nervous system. We have successfully shifted brain activity from the survival center of the brain. We brought your CEO, the main high functioning area of the brain, your prefrontal cortex, we brought it back online. So we have clarity, we have presence, we have access to higher wisdom, we have access to decision making skills. We've shifted you into a more grounded, centered state in your body on the level of your nervous system. Energetically, we've calmed you down. And so what we did there is I wanted to show you that it's really simple, right? And it can be very discreet. You can do it with your eyes open while you're listening to someone talk. You can do it if you have the availability, to really drop into it. You can go to the washroom and do it in the washroom. You can do the more active form of a power pause, as I said, if you need that more vigorous release of the stress. But what we're doing there is really allowing you to come back. Come back to your senses, literally. By using your senses, we shift the state of your nervous system and we completely give you access to a lot wider perspective on possibilities and opportunities and decisions and ways of being. So that's step two, take the power pause. How did that feel for you? Did you notice a
That's
shift?
so good. Yeah, it's always amazing how little it takes to just, drop into the body and like just flip the switch, from hyperactivated to calm, peaceful, and embodied. But can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You mentioned the finger thing, and as you're talking, even after we did it, I'm sitting here like doing it and practicing. I'm like, oh, I like this. But you
Mm.
mentioned the finger thing is important. Can you tell us more about that and why?
Well, great question. Thank you. There is science and it's also cheeky. I
Okay.
gotta be honest. I gotta give you full disclosure. A lot of people are like, yeah, this is boring. What am I doing here? Am I counting? And then we get distracted in our mind. So it gives you something more to do, right? And a lot of people that are very busy brained, if you will, oftentimes they quote unquote can't just meditate. Like, I can't meditate. I can't do it. I can't
Mhm.
get my brain to focus. So usually, if that's the case, like it is the case for me and many other people that experience anxiety, we need to be doing several things at the same time to accomplish the goal of quieting and focusing the mind.
Mhm. Okay.
Also, because there's a significant amount of nerve endings in the fingers that send signals back up to the brain. So this is an ancient practice of using mudras. So this is borrowed from the yoga practice, right? You know mudras, like, I'm making the
Yeah.
okay sign, hands together is thank you, like rock on, like there's a lot of mudras. And so what we're doing here is we're tapping into this ancient wisdom of the subtle body by using these different hand positions. And actually, it's incredible. This practice is a deviation from a practice that's used and has been significantly studied by the Alzheimer's Association, in that when we do these things of multiple points of focus, it allows us to focus and
Uh-huh.
stimulates the brain even more, particularly parts of the brain, specifically the hippocampus, that get affected by just natural aging and are more prone to degradation in the cases of dementia and Alzheimer's. So all the more important, and especially that's a part of the brain that gets affected if we experience depression. And so again, it's keeps you focused, gives you something a little more to do, keeps your monkey brain quiet, and it's amazing. Once you practice it for a while, you'll find that you can still do the counting and you're still doing the breathing and you're still thinking about breakfast. So it's like, you just got to keep coming back. So yes,
Yeah.
there's science, but it's also because that's how we are. Again, that's the nature of the brain, right? And we want to set you up to succeed. And so that's another way to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we're actively calming the mind, which uh, I think is just so much easier for a lot of people than, okay, we're going to sit here in silence and try to have no thoughts.
Right.
You
That's
know?
impossible. What we're looking for is the gap between the thoughts.
Hmm.
And the mind, it's like often equated to an elephant. Like if you think about an elephant, oftentimes when you see an elephant in captivity, for the most part, you see them holding onto the tail of the elephant in front of it, or you often see them holding onto a stick. So elephants are very, very intelligent and emotionally intelligent animals. That means they're very smart, right? The wisdom of an intelligent elephant. My brain was making a new word. And so they need to be given something to do or something to hold on to. And what we're giving you there is something for your mind to hold on to.
Oh, I love
You're
that.
right. It's actively centering the mind because for many people, like the traditional forms of meditation, sitting and just watching the breath is like produces more anxiety than it reduces.
Mhm.
It can feel like a ping pong just going back and forth between the thoughts and the to-do list and all the things. So we set yourself up to be giving your mind something, like you said, to actively calm and center it. And don't let your mind tell you you're quote unquote failing at meditation if you can't just sit there and smell the incense and drop into pure bliss. No, that's not the case for most people because the mind is wired to think and it has anywhere between 60 to 70 thoughts, 70,000 thoughts every day. And so it's really important to just acknowledge that when we have these tools of the movement, the shaking, the stamping your feet, whatever it is you use for your power pause, it's so incredibly useful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, I love that. Thank you for explaining that so beautifully, Megan.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so step one, feel the feels.
Yeah.
Step two, pause.
Yes. Step three, decide who you're gonna be. I love rhymes.
Okay.
I can't resist. So when we finish the power pause, after you've done it, and after you've done it enough, usually it takes about 2 minutes, right? And you can expect that your monkey mind is going to wander and you just keep picking up the stick, okay? We'll use our animal analogies here. Just keep picking back up the stick, do the counting, do the shaking, whatever it is. So you do that for about 2 minutes, and then there's a noticeable shift. You'll probably feel yourself kind of settle. It's like you turn the volume down a little bit. You'll feel yourself anchor, like it presents to you might yawn, you might feel your stomach like digesting. It shows up in a bunch of different ways for people, but if you are someone who's like, I have a schedule I need to get back to, put a timer for 2 minutes. That's great. It's very effective. But at the end of the power pause, before you go back into your day, you get to decide who you're going to be. How are you going to go back into the day? This is the level of intentionality that makes it a much deeper and richer practice than just, okay, I'm doing something to reset, to de-stress. This is where you are actively choosing the version of you that you are going to be that day. So what we use is we create a power statement for yourself. Maybe you have affirmations that you use. Maybe like I want to show up healthy and strong, right? I'm a thyroid thriver, whatever it is for you. So before you go back into the day after the power pause, you drop into the energy of that, whatever that looks like for you, and you hold that pose, right? By that I mean activate it in your body. Hold the energetic, confident, grounded posture that you want to go back into the day as, that you truly are, right? That you truly are, that your mind will try to shift you and distract you away from. But you know in your heart, this is you, right? So we've moved out of the head into the heart. You decide. How are you going to walk back into the meeting? How are you going to go approach the conversation with your partner, or you're going to go handle the tantrum that your kid is having? You show up from that place of very empowered intentionality. That's really what the power pause is doing ultimately, is
Mm.
giving you that break from the chaos to come back to your center so that you can really intentionally walk back into the day from that empowered leadership, grounded, whatever it is, energy. That's the magic of the power pause. Yes, you're nourishing your nervous system. That's incredible and important too. But this is really where it's at as far as the efficacy of it. And it's efficient, right? It's like, okay, 2 minutes, here we go. And you're back in your zone, if you will. And both from a nervous system perspective, you're in the green zone of regulation. You're able to handle challenges. You've grounded yourself without totally collapsing. You're back, you have access to all of these different aspects of you, both energetically and physically.
Mm. That is powerful. I love this, Megan. I love this the structure, the simplicity, but also everything it touches on. I was thinking, gosh, that's so perfectly named too, the power pause, because it really is about empowerment and it taps into a real golden nugget, I think, from that I'll share, like just from my own coaching philosophy, is thinking about our goals. Where do we want to get to? Who do we want to be? How do we want to feel? Thinking about that from an identity based versus an outcome based goal. And I think people are finding a lot of juice here who are trying to reclaim their health, feel better in whatever way, just make any kind of positive changes through thinking instead of, I want to fit into my size 6 jeans again, or I want to lose X pounds, or I want to make X amount of money, or I want to, it's like we're moving beyond that into, who do I want to be? And who is the person that embodies this reality that I would like for myself, what I call, our highest vision of health. Who is the person that embodies that? And we get to actively choose how we show up. Can we show up as that person? Absolutely. And there's so much we can play with there on our healing journey or on any journey, really. Wherever you're heading, wherever it is that you're like aiming for in life, I think there's so much there that we can explore as people. So I love how this kind of weaves that into it. It's very powerful.
Thank you. And I totally align. And there's a couple things that you said there, and I'll try to remember all of them that I'm like, ooh, that, yeah, that. I'm so excited.
Uh-huh.
First of all, is that you're right. It is an embodiment practice and it is intentional. And a lot of people will, we hear so much about morning routines as really being integral to future self-embodiment. And that's great. I'm all about it. I'm like, that's foundational for me. I am not the same person if I don't do my morning routine. I'm not gonna lie. But it's great. But what are we doing between the morning routine and when we do our little evening routine at the end of the day? Are you just, all over the place and not
Yeah.
being that future self? That's where power pauses are literally what weave that intention into your whole day. Just like drinking water all day long to stay hydrated. Power pauses are what help you to stay regulated, but also from our conversation here, in alignment with that self, right? You're just continually dropping back into it. So I think that that's beautiful. And I'm 1,000%. That's it. Is like we in the Power Pause movement, we call it getting into the vibe of our vision, right? And so the
Mhm.
vision is calling you to become someone even more fully, and it's pulling you forward towards that. And this is the thread that you weave into your day to make this your full reality using, what you're coaching with, which I love, and then using the power pauses. And the other thing that you said that is so important and is one of my core values and is part of the vibe of my vision is to make it playful in
Mhm.
that it gets to be fun, right? You're like, but I'm a serious human and I have big goals. Yes, there's a significant body of research that says that people that are highly successful and also enjoy their lives and are also very happy have more frequency of play because play is actually very conducive to nervous system regulation. It's very conducive to having less stress and more joy, which is, of course, beneficial to your immune function, which, of course, makes you a happier human, nicer to be around. And so there's actually a lot of research that tells us that play is really important, but we're like, but I'm at a meeting. I can't be playful right now. And that's okay. All of your power pauses don't have to be really playful, but they can be with that intent of coming back to joy. They can be with that intent of coming back into the natural qualities of the heart, which are love and curiosity and awe and wonder and joy and playfulness and fun. And so, that's part of my work and one of my gifts, I believe, is bringing that level of levity and playfulness and fun into these things that can be perceived as more, like another task to do. But it's so important that we remember that playfulness it's part of who you are, right? And when we're in our head and when we're in worry and when we have health conditions, it can be it can be troublesome, right? And I'm not saying, I'm not unvalidating any of those by any means, but it's really about how we approach these things. And when we're under stress, we don't have access to these other insights, right? It's not how we're wired, and energetically and physically, like we're shutting ourselves down from that access to the higher wisdom and the higher self, right? Whether you call it that, or you call it, are you active in your amygdala, your survival center, or are you accessing higher wisdom through your prefrontal cortex? It's the same thing. It's just using science and then spirituality terms. It's like, it's the same thing, right? And so
Mhm.
looking at it from that perspective of, oh, wow, okay. If I can take these little breaks for myself and I can come back to you, that's really what this is. It's coming back to you and how you want to feel and who you truly are, then that's the real benefit, in my opinion.
Hey, Thyroid Thrivers, Ginny here. I just wanted to pop in and share with you one of my best resources that you might not know about, the Calm Kit. We all need to make time to relax and unwind because stress is a part of life, but taking steps to manage that stress can have so many benefits for us as thyroid thrivers. If we leave our stress unchecked, it can really take a toll on our health. That's why I created the Calm Kit. It's filled with healing meditations to help you reconnect with your inner peace, calming breathwork videos to help you relieve anxiety instantly, restorative movement videos to help you relax and rehabilitate the body, soothing recipes to nourish your body and soul, and so much more. I've also thrown in a bonus bedtime bundle for better sleep and sleep hygiene. Life can be hard sometimes, but you can find calm in the eye of the storm with the help of the resources inside the Calm Kit. Self care is not selfish for thyroid thrivers, it is essential. So give yourself the gift of rejuvenation today. You can learn more at hypothyroidchef.com/calm. Absolutely. And you mentioned, it's about our approach to this. And that's something I appreciate about you is you really bring an integrated mind and body and spirit approach to this that, you're weaving in movement, mindfulness, mindset, you have your yoga background, like all of that is, lots of beautiful threads kind of coming together here, right? But I'd love to just hear in your words why that integrated approach is so important when it comes to us being able to better manage our anxiety or our depression.
Because these parts of ourself never work in isolation. They're
Hmm.
always in communication with each other.
Hmm.
And the main highway of communication is the vagus nerve, which is the main form of communication through your nervous system. And so we can't expect to treat something simply by looking at the body and trying to resolve the symptoms if we don't go deeper and get to the cause, right? It's like really important for us to remember. We understand that the thyroid has such a role in nervous system function as well as hormonal production. And so we can't just say like, okay, well, I'm going to just do this one thing and it's going to fix everything, And so especially when it comes to mental health challenges, many people experience symptoms in the body. Some people exclusively experience them in the mind. And so it's really important, and some have both, and most have both, right? And so it's so important that we look at the fact that you are not your body, you're not your mind. You are the one that can observe all of these things, and you're the link that weaves them all together is that consciousness, is the awareness. And so that's, considered often the spirit or the soul. And so it's really important for us to remember that you are a multifaceted, multi-layered being, and that's how yoga looks at us, and integrated medicine and more functional medicine and naturopathic look at us from this broader perspective, and recognize that it's so important to treat and support ultimately all of you, and we can't just expect to fix it on the one layer and not look at the others, right? And so we often forget that we have a body until it starts to complain, and so that's from my perspective why it's really important is that we we get to learn to care for all aspects of ourselves. And just like you've learned that you get to drink water throughout the day, you need to eat food to keep your blood sugar up, you feel better when you move. It's like when we learn about how this is your nervous system just signaling to you through anxiety, through depression, or whatever it is, however it presents, it's another layer of awareness of you, right? And so it's that recognition of non-judgmental self-awareness, looking at this like, oh, this is a sign from my body rather than a problem to be fixed, as well as compassionate curiosity, which is, well, what does this mean? Oh, what is my body trying to tell me, right? We understand the symptoms of hunger, but maybe you have never been told that, anxiety is a signal from your nervous system that it's off, it's dysregulated, it's looking for love, it's looking for support, right? And so that compassionate curiosity of, oh, why am I feeling like this? What is this part of me showing me right now? And so it's a conversation with self, right? And it's a conversation with your mind, with your body, with your spirit, because you talk to yourself all day long, whether you want to admit it or not, but you do. And so this is more of an intentional conversation.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so much there. And yeah, thank you for putting that together so eloquently.
Mm.
You mentioned the vagus nerve, and I recently recorded an episode interview with Sadie Nardini on the vagus nerve, and I'll put that link in the show notes for the listeners. Like you, she walked us through some different vagal toning techniques, and I was inspired to reach out to her because I was working on some just basic vagal nerve toning, and it's kind of like the power pause. It's like this stuff just takes a few minutes. It's not complicated. It just they're simple techniques that we can use to really course correct how we're feeling, to rein in runaway thoughts, to bring back some agency over like what happens between our morning routine and bedtime routine, as you put it. Um, but just doing some very simple vagal toning things, it was like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. My digestion, belly bloat, like creatively, I had this big spurt of creative energy.
Mm.
But just thinking about that, and of course there's the power pause technique. Are there other like maybe little things we can do outside of that throughout the day, maybe just food and lifestyle wise, to help us manage, some of the challenges that can come up with anxiety and depression?
For sure. So it's really core principles, right? The pillars of what I call lifelong vitality. And it's ones that you've heard before, but are you actively, consistently doing them is usually the question.
Mhm.
And so it's really important to make sure that we're well hydrated. It's very important to make sure that we are eating high quality foods at breakfast and throughout the day to help to keep our blood sugar regulated, right? I know you talk about prioritizing protein, and I love that alliteration, so I'm borrowing that too. And so making sure that, you're nourishing your physical body. Right, that's what we're starting with. Let's start from the more tangible reality. So, nourishing your physical body through movement, right? Movement is medicine. Yet, most people sit for anywhere between 8 to 12 hours a day, and you're not a rock, right? Like, let's just be real. You're not a rock. Just like you're not your body, you're not a rock. And so moving more throughout the day. So that's where power pauses come into it. And so having a morning routine that gets you up, gets you moving, gets you energized is really powerful. It helps to oxygenate your whole body, gets you into a stronger, more confident, powerful posture, which is in and of itself a vagal exercise is, breathing and movement and strength training and all of that. Strength training has a host of benefits, right? And so hormonal balance, stress reduction, improving your sleep, immune function, like all of that benefits with regular, consistent movement. So taking care of your body through movement, through nourishment, through hydration, and then taking care of your spirit. Are you doing things that are fun for you? It's like sometimes when we have big dreams and big goals, we forget. Then we forget, and we're like, oh yeah, I haven't been like as consistent with reaching out to my friends. I haven't had a girls' day in a while. Like, are you doing things that really serve your soul in that sense? And then on that also level, from the spiritual side, like, are you consistent with your practices? That could be prayer, it could be reading the Bible, it could be meditation, it could be, drawing, it could be whatever, going to church, going to temple, going to yoga. Like, what is that for you? Are you doing that, right? Not out of obligation, out of devotion to yourself, to your vision, to your goals? Are you connecting to your vision consistently? Like, are you doing things that make you feel like you're expanding and learning and growing? Are you doing things that are kind of clearing your energy in a sense? And that's, we just had spring, it's still spring-ish. You go to your house and you do a lovely spring cleaning, you wipe the screens and whatever, like those things. Are you doing that in yourself? Are you still doing things that you're like, I really wanted to stop doing that this year, but here I am, and that's okay, no shade, but like, looking at these patterns, and where do you need to forgive yourself? Where do you need to put things down, right? It's like both from an energetic clearing perspective, but also that internal, like, are you still being nasty to yourself when you do this, that, or the other thing? Like, these are the things that we get to do in order to really be the fullness of who you are, and not make any of them wrong. Like when you're not doing a certain thing, or if you haven't been consistent with exercise and you said you would do this, not making it wrong. We want to come back to that non-judgmental self-awareness, but just that intentionality of, for the biggest reason of all, and you said it before, and I want to highlight that, of because of how it makes you feel.
Mhm.
And we do all these things a lot of times is we feel like we need to do them out of obligation. But what we are doing for the most part, we're doing because we think it's going to make us feel a certain way. So that's really the most important factor. And it's how things are making you feel and how you feel overall. And so looking at things that really support that, and gently releasing the things that don't. And it's an ongoing practice, and it's never perfect. I always joke and I say, it's a good thing the yogis called it a yoga practice and not a yoga perfect, because not a thing. And so
Right.
be that when you stand on one foot and you're wobbling around and you're like, well, this pigeon pose is, or whatever, flamingo pose is so hard. It's like, it's just a matter of learning and growing and evolving, and pigeon pose is laying down, but you know what I mean? Standing up, it's wobbling around,
Yeah.
it's being forgiving and compassionate to ourselves. So yeah.
Yes, so much of it comes down to that, doesn't it? And these
Mhm.
are such important reminders, Megan. I feel like culturally we are so spiritually malnourished
Mm.
and like joyfully malnourished. So many of us, like it's like we just doesn't even cross our minds throughout the day. Like, am I okay? Do I? And when we start to think about those things in our lives and maybe start incorporating them, it's like finding water in the desert. It's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea how much I needed this to feel whole. So thank you for sharing so many, just useful practical tools we can use. I do want to touch on medication. I know this is another area where you and I definitely see eye to eye with that kind of integrated approach. And I want to bring it up because, for obvious reasons, it is pertinent to the anxiety and depression conversation. It's pertinent to the thyroid conversation. And it's something that I really see a lot of, I feel like almost more and more of in the wellness space is fear around using medication, sometimes to the detriment of the patient. I'd love if you could share with us how you help people kind of hold space for both all the wonderful natural tools you shared with us today and also leaving space potentially for any needed medication interventions without, judgment or fear.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a really important conversation, especially in the more holistic wellness, spiritual worlds. Is there's can be some judgment and shame that is present around medication. And I am like you. I believe that it can be a part of the puzzle that's essential for people. And it's part of the holistic puzzle, right? Simply put, if we're talking about it from a thyroid perspective, if your thyroid is not producing essential components of your overall well-being, then we have an issue. And for me, I had my acupuncturist. My doctor was like, this is going to be a forever thing. And I talked to my acupuncturist, and he said, if you're not producing something your body needs, then you need to consume it. And I was like, you're right. Thank you for explaining that to me. And so for me, it's never been a question. And I haven't had my own issue around it, but I've definitely met resistance from other people around, oh, you should get off of that. Well, no, actually, I need it. So there's that. And so, from the perspective of mental wellness challenges, is if we have an imbalance, if we have a chemical imbalance that can be supported with medication, and it feels like something that you align with, that you've talked to a practitioner that has given you informed information and so that you can make a decision that feels good to you, and you are supported with that, and you are seeing that as part of the puzzle, right? It's so that it helps to restore chemical balance in your body. You're also looking at how you can support yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? We can see how it's part of the whole package. Then I think there's absolutely a place for it. And that being said, it's not for everybody, and it's not necessary for everybody. And so I'm not saying we should all start doing this or that. I'm just saying that it's something that it's really important that we're open to things from a variety of perspectives, right? Acupuncture doesn't work for some people, and other people love it. Like, some people don't like tapping and other people swear by it. Some people need medication, not everybody does. And so wouldn't it be boring if we were all the same? And so, luckily you're a unique snowflake. And so nobody gets to tell you what works for you except for you and your trusted providers that are coming at this from a very grounded perspective, and they really want to see you thrive, right? And so I think it's important to do your research. I think it's important to talk to a few different practitioners, a variety of perspectives, and then you can make your decision.
Yes, and as you mentioned, the informed consent piece is coming more into the dialogue around that. And I think that's such a positive thing. And it's something patients deserve to understand. Like, what is it that I'm getting into? Let's not be flippant about these things. Let's empower ourselves with the knowledge that we need to make fully informed decisions for our best health. And if you need medication, there's no shame in that. I say that to people in my community all the time who are like, but I have to take medication. I wasn't able to put my Hashimoto's in remission. It's like you and so many other people. It doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it wrong or you're not good enough or any of that. Sometimes it just is what it is, and that is okay. I'm just going to insert a little friendly neighborhood thyroid coach and advocate reminder here for the listeners who might be struggling with depression or anxiety to get your thyroid levels checked too. Because, of course, needed medication for those things, there's no shame in that. Let's also look at root cause factors too. I think, let's rule out maybe some factors. And with thyroid imbalance or hormonal imbalance for, those of us who are coming into the perimenopausal years where things start to shift around that, we can also, have more of a tendency towards anxiety and depression. So let's also look at those things. But, specifically for the thyroid, if you feel like things are getting worse here, and it can happen so gradually with thyroid stuff where it's sort of like the frog in the pot analogy of we're almost not really registering like, wow, my anxiety, and I've certainly struggled with anxiety, throughout different points on my thyroid journey. It can come on so slowly we don't necessarily realize how bad it's getting until it's like, oh wow, I just kind of had a wake up call. If you're there, get your levels checked. If you have any symptom changes, always a good idea to get your levels checked to rule out that possibility too, that you might need a thyroid medication adjustment or you might be having some imbalance there. But I guess, Megan, I'll ask you, well, we have you here. Are there other root cause factors that come to your mind that can be good to rule out first?
That's a great thing. It's really also looking at the quality of our sleep, which of
Mm-hmm.
course has a massive hormonal, Hormones have a massive impact on the quality of our sleep. And so, really looking at that, as well as I think that that's something that's really valid, as well as the quality of your inner dialogue.
Mhm.
Because, our thoughts are greatly influential in how we're feeling. And many people that experience anxiety and depression are often very self-critical. And that's another symptom of stress. And so that's another thing that is really important that people maybe aren't even aware of, that our thoughts are just chitter-chattering away and we're not even realizing how repetitive they are, how critical they are. And so that's a huge factor that I think is really important to look at.
Mm. So many times throughout our conversation today, I hear, this theme of that self-compassion, self-acceptance, non-judgment, looking at this from a more like objective viewpoint. And I think that's so helpful because I feel like in this realm, sometimes we can think of things like anxiety and depression as like, these labels, they're like these clinical terms, like something we just have to cure, get rid of, do away with. And also, like I hear you saying, like sometimes this is our body speaking up to us and letting us know, like something is going on here. Can you tune in and listen? Can you, honor this? Um, Use some of the, the tools that you shared or whatever other tools you end up needing to use, but to kind of come at this from a holistic viewpoint and a a place of that self-love and compassion. So I think that's just a beautiful part of your message and the work that you do.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is, we often hear these, oh, we're managing it, we're trying to overcome it, we're trying to eradicate it. And that's the thing is sometimes, we can heal something and it resolves and that's it. Or sometimes this is a challenge that we've been given to learn about ourselves and to empower ourselves in order to make intentional, healthy choices consistently because we know that this is an aspect of our body. Right? Like that was for me. It was like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? Because my thyroid needs some extra love. And so it's like we can look at it through the lens of this is a problem. I have to fix this. We got to solve this issue. Or if it's something that you can do that with and it can totally be resolved, amazing. Or if it's a lifelong situation, it's a tool. It's a teaching opportunity. It's a growth edge for you. And it's like either we can be annoyed and frustrated by having it be persistent, or we can learn what we can do to be able to thrive beyond that and not make it our whole identity, right? And so, you're certainly not a thyroid sufferer. You are somebody that navigates thyroid challenges, and so it's really how we our perspective and it's the way that we look at these things. And of course, I understand, that's easier said than done. And this is really an ongoing practice and it's a commitment to your journey and your quality of life.
Well, I know you've helped so many women with this, Megan. So thank you for the very important work that you're doing in the world with this. I know it's needed, and I really appreciate you sharing your message and your expertise and your wisdom and all these amazing practical tools with us today, including the power pause. So I just really appreciate you being here. Before we wrap it up, though, I know you have a wonderful free resource for our listeners. Can you tell us about that and where people can find it?
Sure, thank you. So, yes, I do have a free Flip Your Anxiety Off Switch series. So, it's a secret podcast series. So, it's 3 episodes, only 15 minutes each, to help you to learn to take control of your mind in just 6 minutes a day so that you can flip your anxiety off switch on command, right? Learning to cultivate calm on command. So, you can grab that for free as my gift to you by going to giftfrommegan.com. So that's gift from Megan, and Megan is MEGAN.com. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes. But yeah, you can grab that there and then we can get connected and you can ask any questions. I'd love to hear any insights that you had. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, perfect. We'll definitely put that link in the show notes for everyone, as well as information on how you can connect with Megan and where you can find her online. Again, Megan, thank you so much. Do you have any final words of encouragement for the listeners today?
Mm. You are the common denominator in all parts of your life. So making time and space for yourself not only has a massive return on investment, but a return on energy because of how you feel. And so I think that when you do that, when you show up for yourself, not only does it help you to do the big things that you're here to do in the world, which is of course very important, but ultimately you'll be able to truly enjoy what you're doing and how you're doing it and the journey along the way.
Mm. Well, that's a beautiful note to end on. So thank you so much, Megan, and I'll look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been super fun.
Thanks so much for spending this time with me and tuning into today's episode of the Thyroid-Healthy Bites podcast. If you've enjoyed today's show, please don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. Your support makes this show possible. For more thyroid healthy food and lifestyle inspiration, check out my free library of thyroid-friendly recipes and lifestyle content at hypothyroidchef.com and the Hypothyroid Chef YouTube channel. As we wrap it up, head to the show notes for information and links to everything we talked about today, along with the link to my free thyroid-friendly grocery guide download. I'm Ginny Mahar, your thyroid health and cooking coach, wishing you happy cooking, happy thriving, and the best of health. See you next time.